All right, Praj Industries reported a good set of earnings for Q4. They registered a healthy growth on profits and revenues, and the margins also expanded by 140 basis points. Shishir Joshipura, who's the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer at Praj Industries, joins us now. Shishir, thanks a lot for joining in. I mean, very strong set of numbers. And, you know, even in the press release, your tone is quite confident about the energy transition, climate action, etc., opening opportunities for you. Tell us this quarterly run rate that you've seen to the tune of about 50% that you saw in your growth. For the full year, it was a growth of around 50% on the top line. The EBITDA was up about 54%. Is this something that you can sustain in FY24 as well? And you're sitting on a base of around 3,500 crores of sales in FY23. What does this mean for the next year?
Very good morning to you and your viewers. Thank you very much for your kind comments. Yes, we have seen the whole phenomena of energy transition, the way it is unfolding. It is really creating a very large canvas of opportunities. Just to start picking somewhere. So, as you are aware, last week we flew a flight from Pune to Delhi based on a sustainable aviation fuel that we made from the domestic feedstock. And that augurs a completely new pathway for the whole era of biomobility, as we call it, where biofuels will play an increasingly important role in defining mobility for the mankind.
Okay. So what does this mean in terms of numbers, Mr. Joshipura? Even if you repeat that 50% growth performance, we are looking at around 5,000 crores of revenues on the top line. Is that a fair estimate, or could you do better than that in FY24?
Well, it's not for me to foretell the fortune, because we have learned that we cannot predict what happens tomorrow. But having said that, I think our order book is pretty healthy as we enter the new financial year. The canvas is, the way it is unfolding, is creating several opportunities, not only on a short-term basis, but also on a medium to long-term basis. What we are seeing today is a complete transformation taking place in the way we use, the way we produce our energy, and as also way we define our energy mix. And this is happening not only in India, but across the world. And I think that's the key parameter that is driving our performance the way it is.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Joshipura. I want to understand a couple of details. How much of an opportunity is left for 1G ethanol plants? And I ask this because I think the current capacity is around 1,100 crore litres. To get to that 20% blending, I think we have to go to around 1,650 to around 1,700 crore litres. Now, in that sort of a backdrop, given your market share and given the opportunity that you have, that could be a large part of the ordering is still pending. How much of it do you see flowing through in this year, that is FY24? A back of an envelope estimate suggests that from 1G itself, there's a pending opportunity of around 3,000 to 3,500 crores. Do you agree?
Well, what you've said and the numbers are very correct in the sense that the EBP20 program is supposed to roll out completely by end of 2025. So obviously capacity is still left to be built, and we know that we are building it every day. And if this opportunity has to play out on EBP20 side, obviously, as we have also said, that we have a very healthy inquiry pipeline. We are executing contracts every day. A lot of capacity will start coming on the ground now because of the starchy feedstock capacity coming on the play. But as you said rightly, we do foresee a healthy pipeline still as we move forward through the year.
So between 12 to around 18 months, this 3,000, 3,500 crores should be coming to Praj, right?
The point is that even beyond this, there has been a very important announcement for 8 ethanol deficit states that the government made. The OMCs have now asked for procurement of ethanol of 300 crore litres from these 8 deficit states. So that creates an additional opportunity over and above the EBP20. And I think what is very important at this stage is to understand is EBP20 is, of course, one very, very major wind in the sail. Having said that, I think as we move forward, and as I was mentioning about energy transition, we will see a lot more happening on the ethanol space in terms of the application development, whether it comes to stationary engines, which currently run on diesel, whether it comes to aircrafts taking off through the sustainable aviation fuel that I mentioned. We are going to see a lot more use and application of ethanol as we move forward, and that is what is going to drive the whole consumption scenario as we move.
Mr. Joshipura, if you can share with us, what will revenue growth and margins look like in FY24?
Well, we don't provide a numbers guidance as a policy, so that I will not be able to say. All I can say is look at our carry forward order book the way we are open the year. We have talked about a canvas that is unfolding. You yourself worked out the numbers. So we are very strong. We have no reason to believe that our performance will be any weaker, has any reason to get weaker. In fact, if anything, it should get stronger, and that's what we are working on.
And that sustainable aviation fuel, is there a blending threshold which has been specified by the government, or there's nothing yet?
Well, the government has not specified anything yet, but India has become a signatory to the Corsia agreement, which is an international agreement for all airlines. And that mandates that from 2027, there'll be mandatory blending at 2%, and then it keeps increasing every year.
Okay. What will all of this mean in terms of your, margin profile? I'm not asking you for a number, but do you have higher export orders? Is the percentage of exports as an overall part of your revenues going up? And if that is the case, then would that be a, margin lever for you in FY24?
Well, the way I look at it is like this. So we are focusing in a very big way in the unfolding opportunity in the international market as well. And that obviously has a better margin profile than domestic business. And
how much would it be now compared to what it was, say, a year ago? How much are exports now compared to a year ago?
Well, our exports this year, because, our cycles of project execution is of the order of 12 to 14 months. So this year was pretty similar to last year, nothing much to choose. But as we move forward, I think what we have to see is how our order book develops in the international business. There has been some, as we are all aware, especially in the Western world, there has been a bit of a slowdown on the economic side. So some of the orders may get shifted a little bit. But overall, and I'm looking at a little larger perspective, I think as we start to move to a better mix of exports into our overall kitty, we will see a margin improvement there as well.
Final question then. For the last few quarters, if I'm not mistaken, 4 quarters or ago, you had mentioned about the 2G opportunity in Europe, but we're still to hear about some breakthrough. Any update out there?
Yes. So as you're aware, when I said a year ago, after that, the very famous European war broke out. So that has changed the priorities in the region a little bit, because obviously there is a very different phenomena just now playing out in terms of energy security and the way all the nations in that region are planning. But very clearly, the dialogues had stopped for a brief while for the obvious reasons, but then they have restarted back, and I'm sure that as we go through the year, we'll be able to speak about it.
Okay, all right. You want to leave us with any kind of synergies that you have in the JV with IOCL? What is the, what exactly would the synergies be, and what would this mean for your revenue or earnings profile?
So the joint venture is envisaged for propagating the advancement of capacity creation in the country on all the biofuels. We're going to start with sustainable aviation fuel. That is the idea. And the point is that we bring to the table our prowess of technology, engineering, project management, construction, etc. On the other hand, IOCL is India's largest energy company, and they have the wherewithal as far as the distribution and the sale of the end product is concerned. And two of us, when we combine, all we need in between is a production facility. So we're going to facilitate creation of production facilities for different biofuels. Maybe in the initial stages, if it's a very new molecule, we will have to put in our own efforts to with a new partner to ensure that sort of gets created. But what's more important is that between two of us, we bring in both the technology end and the marketing end to a prospective builder of the project.
All right. Doesn't get bigger than the largest oil marketing company, right? For a partner. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Good speaking with you, and it's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
CNBC-TV18. Well, that's Praj Industries.